tension within the PDP and the southeast zone of the party, where we've seen that Sunday Okoye, former youth leader and who eventually became national secretary, controversially, was rejected in the place of Samuel Anyanwu. They had wanted Samuel Anyanwu to be kicked out as national secretary, and of course Sunday Okoye to be put in there. Since 2023, this battle has been ongoing, but unfortunately, that has not happened, and we've also heard that Sunday Okoye has even gone ahead now to resign from the PDP, and of course looking like he's going on his way to the APC. So it's a very huge challenge, and Mba had already threatened as at then that if the Southeast PDP is not treated fairly, that they would eventually have to look for better alternatives. So is the better alternative moving to the APC? Well, we all are waiting to see, because it's the only PDP governor that's left in the southeast.
We need to have a party first before you start talking about presidential candidates, presidency. If we don't have a party, anything that you're trying to do will fall flat. So our effort right now is directed towards having a viral and united PDP that Nigerians will be proud of and again will believe in.
That we are facing, irrespective of party affiliation, irrespective of what we are, Mr. President is looking beyond party affiliation. That is why he brought my friend and leader, Minister Nyesom Wike, to be Minister of Federal Capital Territory, despite the fact that he won the election on the platform of APC. This is strategic partnership, and all of us, because if we don't have a country, we cannot in any way have a nation to have position. So I want to appeal to our people to please, these challenges that we have, let us join hands and try to see. Mr. President alone cannot do it.
There is a quiet storm brewing inside Nigerian's oldest surviving political party. A storm that could finally bury the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, once and for all. At the center of it all is one name, Nyesom Wike, the self-styled Mr. Project, the kingmaker turned demolition expert. Once the life of the party. Today, Wike has become its loudest critic, its most powerful manipulator, and perhaps its greatest threat. But now, the story is taking a darker turn. Wike and his loyalists are said to be plotting to install former Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom as the next PDP National Chairman, a move that many insiders describe as political coup designed not to save the party but to control it or destroy it completely. Can the PDP survive another internal hijack? Or is this the final chapter in the slow, painful death of Nigerians' once mighty opposition, the PDP? This is why PDP may die for good if Wike and his group succeed in making Samuel Ortom the new PDP National Chairman. Behind the smiles and political handshakes in Abuja, a game of chess is unfolding, a game that could decide the fate of Nigeria's biggest opposition party. It began quietly, through whispers, closed-door meetings, and the familiar presence of Wike's loyal men. After losing control of the party's national structure, Wike has been desperate to reclaim the influence within the party, even while serving as minister under the APC government. But there is one problem. His old allies are no longer with him. Seyi Makinde, once Wike's closest G5 ally, has distanced himself from the drama. Makinde, now focused on governance and national relevance, reportedly told a close associate that Wike's obsession with control was hurting the party and distracting the South. Enugu's Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi has gone quiet somehow. Abia State Okezie Ikpeazu has lost much of his political footing, and Ortom, once defiant, is now under pressure from multiple investigations and political isolation. For Wike, Ortom's vulnerability became opportunity. Inside sources say a series of meetings between Abuja and Port Harcourt were convened to restructure the G5 influence, with Ortom being projected as the consensus candidate for the PDP chairmanship. The plan to place a loyal face at the top of the party, someone who could project Wike's interest, silence his critics, and shape the party's 2027 game plan from behind the scenes. It is a familiar Wike playbook. If you can't control from within, create a loyal puppet who will. But the question is, can Ortom play that role without destroying what's left of the PDP? The PDP of today is not the PDP of 1999, once a machine that ruled 36 states. Today, it controls less than 10, and worse, it is torn apart by internal betrayal and ego, waiting endlessly for a new substantive chairman to emerge. This vacuum is what Wike now seeks to exploit. According to insiders, the push for Samuel Ortom is more than a routine leadership change. It is a calculated takeover, intended to permanently seal Wike's dominance over the PDP's internal executive. But not everyone is playing along. The North Bloc of the PDP sees this as an existential threat for them. An Ortom-led PDP would mean Wike's complete capture of the party, making reconciliation before 2027 nearly impossible. One northern PDP leader put it bluntly, "How can we hand the party to someone who betrayed our presidential candidate and lost his state?" Ortom cannot lead PDP to victory. He will lead PDP to its burial. Even within the South, the mood has changed. Seyi Makinde is no longer on board. He now attends NEC meeting quietly, avoiding Wike's public drama. In fact, sources suggest Makinde is closer to reconciliation with the mainstream PDP leadership than to Wike's rebellious faction. This shift has left Wike isolated, but still dangerously influential. His allies within the NEC and the Board of Trustees continue to lobby for Ortom, presenting him as a bridge builder who can heal divisions. But in truth, few inside the PDP believe that narrative, because the man they know as Samuel Ortom carries more baggages than hope. For the 8 years Samuel Ortom ruled Benue State with charisma and controversial, he was known as the defender of the Benue people, especially during the deadly herdsmen crisis. But behind the populist image lies a long trial of political inconsistency and failed promises. Ortom's career has always been defined by party hopping. He began in the PDP, defected to the APC, and returned to the PDP when the tide turned. For Wike, that record of opportunism makes Ortom the perfect candidate, easily persuaded, easily controlled. But his leadership record in Benue tells a different story. The state under Ortom suffered from unpaid salaries, weak infrastructure, and corruption allegations. Even worse, the EFCC had several open inquiries tied to his administration. Bringing such a figure to the helm of a struggling PDP could be disastrous, not only for optics, but for legitimacy. Already, party elders from the North Central have warned that Ortom's emergence would fracture the zone and drive more members into political retirement. To many observers, Ortom's proposed leadership symbolizes everything wrong with the PDP today: weak discipline, internal compromise, and leaders chosen not for competence but for loyalty. And a party once built on ideology has become a vehicle for personal survival. And if Wike's plans succeed, that survival will be at the expense of the party's soul. Let's be honest, Wike's leadership with the PDP died long before the 2023 election. The moment he lost the presidential primary to Atiku, his loyalty shifted. He built a faction, sponsored rebellion, and openly worked against his party during the general election. Yet today, Wike sits comfortably in the Federal Executive Council under the APC, while still claiming to be a PDP member. For many, that's not strategy, that's sabotage. His appointment as FCT minister by President Bola Tinubu was not just a political favor, it was a calculated handshake across party lines. Wike's survival now depends on balancing two loyalties, one to his boss in the APC and one to the remnants of his power base in the PDP. So what is Wike's endgame here? According to analysts, Wike wants to turn PDP into a controllable opposition, weak enough to pose no threats to Tinubu in 2027, but strong enough to keep him politically relevant. By installing Ortom, Wike achieves two things. One, he remains control of the PDP national structure. Two, he ensures that the opposition remains divided, guaranteeing Tinubu a smoother re-election bid. It is a political masterstroke, but a deadly one for the PDP's future, especially as it's beginning to seem that Umar Damagun is not longer siding the Wike's camp, and as Wike clings to Ortom as the new pawn, PDP risks bleeding out completely if this happens. Every political party has its breaking points. For the PDP, that moment may have arrived. If Ortom becomes national chairman, the message will be clear. Wike still calls the shots, and any hope of unity, reconciliation or genuine opposition will vanish overnight. Already, northern leaders are quietly discussing an alternative opposition alliance, possibly emerging smaller parties with remnants of the PDP. The goal to build a new front that can challenge the APC in 2027, just like Atiku, Abubakar and others are doing with the ADC, without the burden of Wike's shadow. Finally, the PDP is bleeding, morale is low, state chapters are divided, and ordinary members are losing faith in a party that once promised to rescue Nigeria. Some insiders warn that if Ortom takes over, mass defections could follow, especially from the north and the southwest. Just as we know, the Enugu state governor is already making moves to leave the PDP and join the APC. And all of this is geared towards the emergence of Samuel Ortom. The PDP would then become a regional party, reduced to a Port Harcourt board game, controlled by one man's ambition. It is a scenario reminiscent of how the once powerful National Party of Nigeria and the Social Democratic Party, SDP, faded, eaten from within by ego and internal betrayal. If history repeats itself, Wike and Ortom's alliance could write the final obituary of the PDP. The same party that ruled Nigeria for 16 unbroken years might be coming to an end if Ortom becomes its national chairman. The PDP was once a symbol of stability, a party that united Nigerians' diverse regions under one umbrella. But today, that umbrella is torn. Ambition has replaced vision, personal revenge has replaced ideology, and men like Wike, brilliant, fearless, but dangerously self-absorbed, have turned what was once a movement into a battleground. If Samuel Ortom ascends the PDP throne, it will not be an accident. It will be the climax of a long script written by men who care more about power than prosperity. And when that day comes, it may not just mark the fall of a party, but the death of Nigeria's political opposition. Because without a strong PDP, democracy in itself becomes weaker. As Nigerians, we ask, how did we get here? How did the largest opposition party in Africa become a shadow of itself, controlled by ego, revenge and external influence? If PDP must survive, it must choose courage over convenience. It must reject opposition, resist manipulation, and rebuild trust from the ground up. Otherwise, when history finally writes the obituary of Nigeria's once great party, one name will be inked in bold letters: Nyesom Wike, the man who loved the PDP enough to destroy it.